Good morning, everybody, and welcome to Verse by Verse through the book of Genesis on the RC Daily Bread. So, real quick, if you're not friends with me on Facebook and you're watching like a replay of this because your friend shared it, feel free to add me. And you can come join us live Monday through Saturday, 7:30 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. And if you watch this on YouTube or Instagram, cool. You want to join us, ask your questions, chime in live, I'm on Facebook at 7:30, Joe Edwardshoff. Come find me there. Also, up here in the top right, there's that little 3-button thing if you're on Facebook. You want to subscribe, that way you get like the notifications when we go live, then you don't miss out on anything. So, all that said, let's head back to the book of Genesis, chapter 1, and we're just going to do verse 1 over again today, just so we can have, the ball rolling as we take off. Whew, okay. So, in the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. Now, I think verse 1, in many ways, does stand alone by itself. There's something that took place there. I do believe in the beginning, boom, all these things are created. And now we get to see the forming of the things that come after this. It says the heavens were without form and void, and darkness was on the face of the deep. And the Spirit of God was hovering over the face of the waters. Then God said, "Let there be light," and there was light. And God saw the light, and that it was good. And God divided the light from the darkness. God called the light day, and the darkness he called night. So the evening and the morning were the first day. Now, we got a whole lot of stuff right here in this first section. It's a lot of technical stuff. But see, if we get this stuff wrong, we are setting ourselves up to get the rest of the Bible wrong. So it's of critical importance that we get this right. So, let's look at what it says. First, there's in the beginning God. If you believe that God was there and he pre-existed all things, and that God created the heavens and the earth, everything in the Bible is downhill from there. God created life, and man chose to bring in death. But God can put an end to death, right? He can put an end to all of that because he created everything in the first place. God created the bodies, the air, the stars, the moon, the sky. So that means that everything from the common cold to cancer to COVID, it's all within God's realm to handle it. Your mortgage payment, God can handle it. The craziness going on in your life, God can handle it. If you believe Genesis 1:1, everything else is downhill. God, help us believe that you are Creator God. Get that right, everything else is easy. Now, there's something that's called the gap theory. That there's a gap between these verses. That without form and void, why would God make something without form and without void? Why would God make something that's bad? And you can argue over the terms. Other people say, well, those words, other places, they mean desolate and they mean destroyed or bad. Well, once again, God hasn't formed anything yet. And so, yeah, it's going to be kind of messed up. And is there a word? Is there a word that exists to describe all time, space, and matter in existence and yet not formed into anything? Sometimes we realize that people think, well, that word means this somewhere else. Well, yeah, again, I'm not a fan of the gap theory. There's actually an old earth and a young earth gap theory. I know some people whom I respect who hold to what's like a young earth gap theory. And if this is like over your head, don't worry about it. You can just pocket this for another day. But for those of you who are familiar with it, I want to make sure you guys hear this stuff too. So some people believe there's a big gap between the verses where you can fit millions and billions of years. Now listen, I could hand this book to a 5-year-old and they can tell you it doesn't say that. It's amazing on how in our wisdom we start interpreting the Bible differently because we've got to make the Bible fit what we already believe. We have to make the Bible fit what they're teaching in school. We have to make No. Read the Bible. The plainest sense is typically good sense. How's it go? The plainest sense is usually the right sense and any other sense is nonsense. I mean, that's the idea. Read it, take it at face value, and more than likely you'll be right when you read it that way. All means all. So, now, a young earth gap theory, because some people don't use this to try and explain a long earth, but they still see a gap there. I see no need for a gap. Some people talk about, well, when did Satan fall? Satan fell during the gap. You know, by the end of the last day of creation, God is going to rest, and every day up to there, he said all that he created was good. When were the angels created? Don't know. Bible doesn't say. We just don't know, and that's okay. Maybe when he created the heavens, he created the angels too. Now, the angels are there actually when the sun, moon, and stars are created, the stars in the sky, because we actually read in Job that the B'nai Elohim, the sons of God, rejoice. Is it in Psalms? Regardless, the angels rejoice when they saw the creations of the stars. So we actually know they're at least created at that point. But again, there's really no need for a gap. In the plainest sense, there is no gap here. And about days, right? Well, maybe the days of creation are symbolic for long periods of time. Some people say, see, let there be light. It's the Big Bang. Yeah, it's a big dud. Again, you cannot call yourself a literal, good morning, Laura, good to see you. You can't say you believe the Bible literally and then believe in a day-age theory, that each day represents an age. Doesn't work that way. We have things like the sun being created after the plants. That don't work. We have things like all sea and air creatures being created before land animals. And if you hold to the theory of evolution, it started in the sea, progressed to the land, and then to the air. That doesn't work. And some people say, well, you need to read this like a Jew. You need to read this with a Hebrew mindset. That, they use these words and pictures to symbolize things. Here's the thing, though, just between you and me, because that's been really popular lately. That's something that I've only seen in the last handful of years, is people saying, well, there's this Eastern mindset, different than us Westerners. Us Westerners take things very literal, but in the East, they this is more symbolic, and it's supposed to represent and symbolize things. Feel free to go look up ancient rabbinical commentaries. You can look up the Masoretes and the people in the year 300 AD after Christ. There's a lot of writings there. There's a lot of stuff even before Christ. And if you actually go look up what an ancient rabbi teaches, they taught that a day meant a day. And they believed in literal days. In fact, they quite literally would say that a day is like 1,000 years. And they would say that there were 6 days of creation and 1 day of rest. And the ancient Jews taught there'd be 6,000 years of earth. They actually thought, this is what they taught, and this is just mind-blowing. I taught this at church the other day, so for my church, this is repeat. Sorry for you. But 2,000 years of lawlessness before the law, 2,000 years of the law, and then they thought there'd be 2,000 years of messianic reign, and then 1,000 years of the rest. Holy smokes. There was 2,000 years until Abraham. And there was 2,000 years under the law. We're rounding some. And then there was 2,000 years from the year 0 or 32, whatever you want to count from Jesus' time until today. There's been 2,000 years, and we're living in the end times. Those 2,000 years have come to an end, give or take. We don't know the exact year, but we can count it pretty close. And I've done the math before and timelined it out. We're like right there. We're like at 6,003 or 6,007 if you do, there's plus and minus in there, right? So anyway, a day is a day. Last but not least, well, in the Bible, the word day could mean a year, and the word day could mean an age. You're very right. In the Bible, yom, the word for day, like every Hebrew word has a bunch of meanings. Like literally almost all Hebrew words have a slew of meanings. But here's the thing. Nowhere in the entire Bible is the word yom paired with a number. First day, second day, and it ever means anything but a day. Secondly, the word yom is never paired with day or night, meaning anything other than a day. And so here we have the first day, morning and night. A day means a day. Now, here's the cool thing. Once again, how do we apply this so I can wrap this up today? If we can believe the Bible and just take it at face value, and yes, we might have to go against what the public schools taught us. What a shame. They're teaching so much Marxism and other crap right now. Excuse my language. But it is. It's just, we have to be able to believe God's word first and then figure out where everything else in this world stands. But trusting God's word first, taking it at face value. And as Leonard Ravenhill say, someday some poor fellow's going to pick up this book, he's going to read it and just believe it and put the rest of us to shame because he just read what it said, believed it in faith, and began to live his life accordingly. Oh, that we could do the same and just take God's word at face value and live accordingly. Love you guys. Share this out, invite a friend. I'll see you guys tomorrow bright and early. Like I said, I'm going to start keeping these a little shorter. Y'all can complain. That's okay. We can talk on the side some other time. Love you guys, and take care.